In the harsh high desert of Arizona, under the scorching heat of the midday sun, a juvenile Mustang lay lifeless and barely moving. Fighting for one's life, everyone believed that nature would eventually take its course. However, a stray dog with a scraped and damaged appearance emerged from the rocks. Following that, he did something that even seasoned wildlife experts found shocking. He was only a few weeks old when a severe thunderstorm scattered his herd across the arid plains. Blay, as he would later be named, was the name eventually given to him. He roamed for days without any water, eventually collapsing near a dried riverbed. He was separated from his family and was too young to navigate alone. His eyes were glassy, his breath was short, and his ribs rose with a faint rhythm. He was rapidly losing his strength. After a considerable distance, something moved down to the earth with a cautious but deliberate approach. A stray dog named Rusty, who had patchy fur, a limp, and one ripped ear, had been watching. No one knew where he had come from. Perhaps he had been a pet in the past, or perhaps he had been born in the wild. Now, however, he managed to exist on his own by avoiding humans and relying on instinct and scraps. Although he was around the colt with his nose twitching, Rusty did not rush in. Instincts informed him that this was a simple target to capture. On the other hand, he was hesitant because of something in the silence. A little raise of Blay's head was observed. They looked at one another, one of them old and beaten down by life, and the other of them youthful and drowning in it. Rather than attacking, Rusty did something that nobody anticipated he would do. He made his way to a little depression in the sand, where precipitation had absorbed some moisture, and then he returned to the spot and gently licked Blau's damaged lips. Repeatedly, he traveled back and forth, delivering water to the person who was in the process of passing away. Natalie Cruz, a wildlife rescuer, and Jake, her partner, were tracking reports of a lost cow from the Painted Mesa herd. They were located miles distant. Natalie was not going to quit up, despite the fact that their satellite data was somewhat hazy. As she navigated the dusty pickup truck across the rocky terrain, she said, "There's probably still a few hours left." They became aware of something close to the riverbank as the sun began to set. Natalie initially reached for her binoculars, anticipating that she would see coyotes, but she stopped and asked, "Is that a dog?" A hushed voice from Jake said, "He's not attacking. He's helping it." With a protective stance, Rusty stood over the FO. It was not out of hostility that he growled when the rescuers approached. Rather, it was a warning. Natalie carefully poured water into a tiny dish, moved it forward, and then stood back. Rusty took a deep breath, picked it up carefully, and then brought it ablaze. The subsequent events defied the laws of biology. During the night, the stray slept next to Blay, rubbing against him for warmth as the desert became chilly. In response to the appearance of coyotes in the distance, Rusty braced himself, his teeth exposed and his hackles lifted, ready to defend a creature that nature had taught him to disregard. By the time morning arrived, Blau was still quite alive. After arriving, the mobile veterinarian team administered fluids and blankets in order to stabilize him. Rugged and tired, he hobbled away. On the other hand, Natalie was not going to allow him to disappear into the desert. With the help of gentle calls and a patient approach, she followed his track until she reached a crack beneath a rock ledge. The only thing he did was look at her, exhausted and weary, yet trusting. He did not run. "You saved him," she whispered to him. After a few weeks, both Blay and Rusty had made a full recovery. Despite being stored in distinct locations daily, Rusty would ascend to a neighboring ridge in order to keep a watchful eye on Blay. Discreetly faithful and present, their improbable connection touched the hearts of everyone at the center of what started out as a stray rescuing a dying adversary evolved into a tale of interspecies trust and the silent power of compassion. Sometimes the most profound relationships are not created by blood language or even species, but rather by one soul recognizing the sorrow of another and choosing not to look away.